you the question then. Do you think India suffered? Do you think India is in a worse place now than it would have been if it was never colonized by the British? Now, I'm not saying the British didn't kill people. I'm not saying they were completely fair, but also the world was a different place back then. Nowhere was fair. If the British didn't turn up to India in the 1800s, then the Indians would have been killing the Indians. People just killed each other. That's how it worked, right? Do you think India would be in a better place today if it was never colonized by the British?
I mean, they're pooping in the streets right now.
What would they be doing if they didn't? The British didn't turn up. I mean, if you look at some of the biggest, best buildings in most of these countries, or some of the most critical infrastructure, it's the shit the British built 200 years ago to this day. And they had their liberation for a very long time, and they haven't managed to surpass the infrastructure the British built. Do you want to talk about why that is? I mean, I'm sure there's reasons, but my point is, the British turned up to a country. They ruled India with less than fucking 60,000 men. The Indians could have kicked their ass any time, but they turned up and they gave genuine value to the point people thought, okay, these white people turned up on this boat. They know shit. Oh, whoa, railroad. Well, okay. Whoa, schools. They didn't do it purely by force. India is a big place. They did it with a very small contingent, and they did it by adding value. And yeah, the British were not people you want to fuck with, but they definitely added value to their colonies. And I know this is going to upset the whole fucking world. All the people are going to say I'm a colonist. This is a pretty diverse panel. I don't know where I come in on the Brown scale, but it's a pretty. I know where I come in. Yeah. It's a pretty diverse panel. But the world was a dangerous place back then. And I think being under the British Empire afforded these countries a lot of security and safety and technological advancements. And I don't think it was all completely a bad thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Barbados, so like we were colonized as well. But, we got our independence as well. But Andrew, as a young man navigating the Matrix, where do you think somebody is to live nowadays in terms of like place to live? What's the best location you think possible for a guy to live in these times?
That's a good question. That's a hard one for me to answer. But I think that should be the first question to the panel. So let's go through one by one. Let's change the question slightly. When you're deciding where you want to live on the planet, what are you looking for?
Depends on how much money you have. If you're American, Miami's the move, or Puerto Rico. But if you have more money, if you have top G money, then Croatia, I think sounds good. Albania, Romania, obviously. But most people can't answer that question.
But why?
Everything you say about Eastern Europe, about the traditional values, about the lack of feminist indoctrination, about the weather is nice, things are cheap, people are nice.
Girls are skinny.
Girls are skinny. We saw one, but there has not been one fat under 40 woman this whole time.
That's been the challenge of the whole week.
Trying to find one?
I challenged Myron and Sneeko at the beginning of the week to find a girl under 40 that was fat.
Yeah, it's not a societal norm here. It's not accepted in the same way. So societal norms have a large part to play on how we act as a whole, which you can extrapolate to everything, right? The societal norm in Eastern Europe is to not be fat, and it's to not be a hoe, for example. Whereas in the West, they don't have those societal norms and people act in a certain way. Maybe I'm getting old and boring, but I like to live. When I was last in Miami, which is the best city in America, hands down.
Nice.
Best city in America,
Miami.
This can't like anyone who talks about New York, they're idiots, right? Miami is the best. But to me, sorry, bro. Sorry, Sneeko. To me, it feels godless.
It is. That's why I love
it. Just feels godless. When I'm in Miami, I'm just like, not New York, Miami. I'm like, this is fun. But it just feels, where's God? God ain't here. This hoe, that hoe. I'm just like, where's God? He forgot about Miami. I don't know. It just feels godless. And maybe I'm getting old and boring, but I like to just see the traditional business run by the family and the hotel run by the family and the women going to church on a Sunday. And that's what I like about Eastern Europe. Maybe I'm getting old and boring.
So I'll say this. It depends on what you want. Personally speaking, if you want girls, you got a little bit of paper, go to Colombia. Not much to do there, but the girls, the scenery, the food is cheap. And then if you want to have fun, you have money, Miami for sure.
All right, so let's carry on with the question. So, yeah, fresh. Let's say money's no object. Let's say we all have hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever. Mm-hmm. You could live anywhere on the planet. Where would you live and why?
Money is not object. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Probably Colombia. Give me 1,000.
Colombia? Why?
First off, the girls are beautiful. They're at least somewhat feminine. The money goes very far. So, for example, like you could be a G with only like 50K, 100K a year. And honestly speaking, like it's skill because, for example, people that go there have businesses, other Americans. So it's kind of like you have your own community guys that are successful and hot girls. I mean, you can't really lose. So
mine wants to go to Dubai, right?
I'll go last. I'm producing over here.
What about you, bro? Where you living?
Man, we were just talking about this in the war room, but to me, man, it matters who's there. So you can go anywhere in the world you want. It could be the best place on earth. If your boys aren't there, bro, it's shit. It's true. Number one.
It's true.
Colombia, I've been. I like it. I think you need a plug there, like you need a plug in anywhere else.
George
but
Gammon.
You need a plug. No, you need a plug that's local because Colombia can be very dangerous also. You know, so I would have to say Europe in some regard, probably Eastern Europe somewhere. Based off of my experience, I like Dubai, but it kind of feels like an island. I would not go to. Where is it? Everywhere Dominican? Is it
DR, Dominican Republic?
Yeah, but then you get island fever, man. So I would say Eastern Europe somewhere. If you're not going to live in the States and you're not going to live in Miami. That would be my bet. But without your boys, it's shit anyway. I'd rather live in Indiana with my boys than live in the best country on earth with nobody. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think people pretty much know my answer. But yeah, Justin's right. It's a lot about the people you're with. It's about what stage you are in your life. But certainly the people you're with are going to influence your reality. I've been to a lot of places. I've been all around the world. The number one thing people say to me is, Tate, you have so much money. Why don't you travel? The first thing is I do travel. All I do is fucking travel. It's annoying. But the second thing is that the world's the same, man. You either go out to a restaurant or you stay in. You fuck a bitch, you watch TV or sit on the computer. The world's the same pretty much everywhere. So you got things like weather, you got things like the general safety of a place, but then you got to go for the intangibles. I like driving past churches. That's why I live in Romania. I like driving past churches. Sounds stupid, but there's nothing that America has that Romania doesn't have. I can buy a Lambo here. There's a Lamborghini garage. There's fucking clubs. There's bottles. There's Dom P. There's bitches, there's restaurants. Like what does Miami have that Bucharest does not have?
Not much.
Nothing. It's all the same. It's all here. And this is a poor country, right? It's all here.
People say it's a poor country, but that's a lie.
It's a straight lie.
So false, bro. Like, dude, the clubs are lit here, girls are bad here, and the cars, bro. This Lamborghinis outside driving up and down, Porsches, everything is like it's lit, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of money here.
Yeah,
it's very first world.
Yeah, I don't feel like I'm in a poor country being here at all. I'll tell you guys that. Like coming from Miami, where it's like super bougie, like yeah.
But you guys spent the whole time at the mall, going to all the first world places.
Oh,
you didn't even go into actual Bucharest. You've been to the mall 8 times in 4 days.
Well, to be fair, I've been on dates. I've been learning the culture, okay?
Dates at the mall, very adolescent. Take her to a nice restaurant. Take her to go scenery seeing.
I know you know
a church.
We took those girls. Oh wait, they're waiting in the lobby.
Better than the mall.
L. Okay, go on.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna live in the United States, I think if you live in Florida or Texas, those are fantastic places to start. Because anywhere where it's not expensive to live and you're not getting taxed to death, you'll be okay. If you're going to pick major cities in these states, I would say, Miami is fantastic. Fort Lauderdale is good. Tampa's good. I don't like Orlando. And if you're going to be in Texas, Dallas and Houston are good. Just a little bit dangerous. South Texas is surprisingly nice too. Like McAllen, people talk shit about the Southwest border, but there's some nice areas there. Phoenix is also good. And Arizona, the only thing that sucks is there is a state income tax. But if you're going to go abroad, I mean, Romania is nice. I can see why the Tates live here. You get a lot of it feels like a first world country, even though like it might not necessarily be one like GDP wise. And then what else? But for me, I'm going to probably go to an Arab country when this is all said and done to find my virgin wife.
Find the virgin wife. Yeah,
find the virgin wife, man. So, yeah.
Right. So go on. We're going to say?
Next question.
Our next question. So he just said when this is all said and done. So that's going to lead into one of the questions I'm going to ask. So that's perfect. It makes it all together. So why I want to ask all of you, and you have to tell the truth because the audience are going to tell if you're lying. If they're lying, guys, you have to say they're lying in the chat. Why do you stream?
Oh, God.
Why do you talk to the world? Why?
I want to wake people up.
Wake people up from what? And why? And then why do you want to wake them
from
up?
their brain?
Why are you compelled? Why are you motivated to do this?
My whole life philosophy has been based around being brainwashed since I was 6 years old, sitting in a church and not feeling like it was any productive use of time, listening to a priest blab on about life, but he doesn't have any life experience. He's some guy named Peter. He's talking about TV shows. He's never even been with a woman before. How could you tell me anything about life and you haven't had any life experience? Going to school, doing the Pledge of Allegiance, sitting these things, taking Adderall every single day. They prescribed me. They said I had a disability. I felt like everything in my life was to keep me down since I was born. And they told me that there was something wrong with me. And that's motivated me to do everything that I do. So the reason I started streaming is direct communication with my audience. I did videos for 9 years, but that was slower. And now I could talk to 10,000 people every single day. I want to go spread the knowledge that I've learned and try to bring people out and teach them the same things that I've learned from being trapped inside the box and being suppressed my whole life.
And why? And that's a good question. I understand completely. Why do you think that? Do you think it gives some validation to yourself to do it? Do you think it's a selfish motivation, or do you think you're like a philanthropist?
There's some selfish, there's some validation seeking. There's some need to be liked and admired, but the motivation is definitely based in what I said. because I wouldn't be banned on Twitter and TikTok. I wouldn't be risking this right now. We can get banned just sitting in this room with you, but we're all here because we believe in some sort of message. We have some sort of philosophy. If we wanted to cash out, we could jump in a pool of 100,000 Orbeez, do some prank videos, farting in Walmart.
That's true.
We're here.
That's true. You're right. Good point. Good point. What about you, Fresh? Why are you streaming?
Honestly, bro, honest answer here. I want to inspire. I'll never forget, like when I came to America,